Right, hello, happy Friday. Time to talk fantasy football, EFL Fantasy Football again. I had a decent first week, 60 points. It didn't put me top, unfortunately, but let's get into my team from last week very quickly, and then we'll look at some of the players you should be looking out for game week 2. So I don't really subscribe to the idea of picking players from the first game of the week, which was Port Vale against Cardiff. It was a low quality affair, 0-0. I avoided that. And with the return of the championship, I decided to just pick a complete championship 11 for this week, which also doesn't include anybody from Birmingham or anybody from Ipswich. That early game, that first game, don't like it. So before we get into that team, let's look at the one I had last week, 60 points. Fraser Horsfall, I was banking on Blackpool. They lost to Stevenage at home. Not ideal. Blackpool's one of my teams as well. Doncaster, you can see Luke Molyneux, he did finally score a late penalty. They were banging on the door. A lot of people were relying on him to get points, and he did. But yeah, Fraser Horsfall, and also Bristol Rovers losing. I did have Macaulay Southern Hales, if you'd have seen, but he wasn't playing, so I managed to change him in time. Remember, you can change players right up until kickoff of the matches which the players are in. So yeah, I stuck with Bristol Rovers. They ended up losing to Harrogate, and yeah, defensively, not the best. I'll be honest. But one of the big winners for me was Nombe at Rotherham. Scored twice up front. Aaron Collins, Alex Gilby didn't do a lot in terms of production for MK Dons, so they were a bit of a wasted pick for me, or two wasted picks. But Nombe, Molyneux, and Latutula, I did bank on Doncaster. Latutula in goal did do well, and obviously Doncaster were one of my teams. So 60 points. Let me know how you got on in the first week. I think there are about 190 players in the Rob Ahmed League. Again, description if you still want to join that. You're only 1 week behind. But yes, they were my picks. Latuto, I think, is a strong pick. Looking at Doncaster, I didn't really rate Exeter from what I saw from them. So anybody that's playing Exeter this season, I think, will be more often than not on the right side of that result. But yeah, let's get into some of the picks for this week and how my team is looking. So there you go. You can see my team on screen. I'll be honest, right now, it is still in a state of flux. It is Friday morning. I'm desperately trying to figure out who do I want in there. And there's so much jeopardy, or there's so much kind of confusion around that Leicester City Sheffield Wednesday game, that my Leicester asset I am a little bit worried about, because that is the Sunday game, and if anything happens, the Saturday games will have already happened. So yeah, that is what I'm looking at. But Leicester will be heavy favourites to thump a Sheffield Wednesday team that are in complete disarray with everything going on off the pitch there. So I have got Asmir Begovic in goal. Bid has been accepted for Hermansen by West Ham, so he obviously won't play. I think Begovic will probably be the next man up. But again, that's up for debate for me in terms of who I put in goal. And Fatawu, I think, is one of the best players in the Championship, and he will be picked a lot by me this season to lead the line. Louis Barry, another. He's got a couple of goals, I think, for Sheffield United in pre-season. Really like the look of him. If he's starting, I will be sticking with him. I've got a Wrexham lad in there, Josh Windass. Do just think he will be a real asset for Wrexham playing off the front, which will probably be key for more. I think as a kind of second striker, number 10, I think Josh Windass will be a real good asset in midfield. And then you can see defensively, I've gone with Van Uwijk at Coventry. I think they will beat Hull at home. Coventry have got ambitions of being a playoff team again. And Harrison Burrows, one of the best fullbacks in the Championship. And Sakamoto, I think he's not an unsung hero because people know who he is now, but he's super talented, and I really like the look of him. Other assets that you could be looking at, I think Jay Robinson, if he starts for Southampton, is a good option against Wrexham. And if you really did want to look at the early game of the weekend, which is Birmingham Ipswich, you could be looking at Kyogo. You could be looking at, from an Ipswich point of view, you could be looking at Jack Clark maybe, or it's not going to be Amari Hutchinson, I wouldn't have thought, maybe Hurst up top. Ipswich will still be a really good team, even with the injuries they've got and kind of transfer speculation. But yeah, I've gone with Windass and Sakamoto in there. Jack Rodoni is a good option as well for Coventry, but some transfer speculation over him means I've just played it a little bit safer, I think. There's a couple of other games that I think are really interesting. Norwich Millwall, I think, could be really high scoring. Fitzgarden is one to watch for Norwich, and Millwall have plenty of reliable assets. Will Alfie Doughty play there? I think he will. And he is brilliant in terms of his set-piece delivery and his general delivery for assists. Charlton have made a lot of signings. I think, again, Charlie Kelman, Tanto Alafe, one of those at home against Watford, looks a good option in attack. Again, defensively, I think you're looking at teams like Coventry, teams like Leicester, games where they are seemingly heavily weighted. West Brom against Blackburn Rovers, I think that's probably going to be a very, very close encounter. I've predicted that to be 0-0 on our 4-score predictions. Some differential picks that you could use: Derby County away at Stoke. I think while he is raw, Patrick Adjumang, who's arrived from MLS, I think he's definitely one to have a look at. Bobby Clark, if he starts and is fit enough to play, he's come in from Red Bull Salzburg. Derby are looking like a really good team away at Stoke. Stoke have got some good players as well, made some decent signings. Jamie Donnelly on loan from Tottenham. But I would be looking at Derby there for an away win. But they, as one of your teams, could be a really good differential pick if you're trying to gain some ground in a league. Also, QPR, they are at home to Preston North End. Will Kwame Poku be fit to play? He's a big signing for them. Karamoko Dembele, I really like as well. Ex-Celtic wonder kid. So QPR would be home favourites. I think Derby are favourites away at Stoke. Southampton Wrexham's very difficult to call, as is Birmingham Ipswich. Coventry against Hull City, you would back them. Oxford at home, I'm not sure I would be backing them necessarily. I think they play Portsmouth. So be very selective. You don't obviously have to pick a full championship team like I have, but there are a lot of players there just for a bit of fun for the championship that you could be looking at. And if you're looking at League 1 and 2, there are some great options in there. Nombe, after scoring 2, looks a smart pick. And in the longer term, Ruben Colwell for Cardiff, I think, is a really clever pickup as well. So good luck, and we'll come back for week 3, see how we got on. And yeah, let me know your team, how you're getting on as your progress continues in the weeks ahead.